Some record labels might have bad blood with Taylor Swift.
'Cause baby, now we got bad blood. You know it used to be mad love. So take a look what you've done. 'Cause baby, now we got bad blood. Hey!
So the global superstar has famously been re-releasing her old records, which she is releasing as Taylor's versions. But not everybody's happy about it. Record labels are reportedly in a hurry to tighten up contracts with their artists to try and restrict them from doing the same, copying Taylor's moves. For more, we are joined by Susan Abramovich, partner at Gowlings, where she is the head of sports and entertainment law. Hey, welcome. Good morning.
Hi, Anne-Marie.
It's not just that she's re-recording it and, taking back control over her own music. It's the success of these re-recordings that is such a big deal. How is this changing the game?
Well, it really is. I mean, re-record restrictions and re-recordings are not new. Artists have been doing them since the beginning of the recording era. And labels, of course, have tried to restrict their artists by putting in restrictions. So what's new here is that her recordings are very popular. She has an army behind her. She has re-recorded them beautifully because she still has her musical chops and has the money to record them properly. And she recorded her entire catalog, repackaged it, and promoted it. So that's why this is getting more attention now.
Yeah, and everybody remembers this is the famous battle with Scooter Braun. He ended up getting the catalog, and then she didn't get the opportunity to buy it, so somebody suggested that, I think it was Kelly Clarkson, suggested that she re-record it, and then that's what happens. How do these new recordings hurt her old label and the catalog that they own?
Well, of course, they are pretty good sound-alikes and represent competition to their ability to exploit and monetize those masters. That's why record companies, have always put in some kind of re-record restriction to sort of get a non-compete from the artist from doing competitive recordings. But these re-record restrictions to date have always been limited in time. Usually they last for the longer of 5 years from release of the recording to 2 years after the artist is no longer exclusive with the label. And what's changed here is that the labels are taking a look at this and saying, hey, maybe that restriction should be much, much longer.
Yeah, what are we talking about now?
Well, anecdotally, I haven't seen this yet myself, so it's still starting to roll out. But anecdotally, I'm hearing about 20 or 30 years after the artist is no longer exclusive to the label. So that could be, 30, 35, 40 years.
Do artists have any room here to fight back? And I'm thinking about new artists who are excited to get signed up with a label similar to Taylor and how she signed up when she was still, a teenager. And had she been under a contract like that, she wouldn't be allowed to do the Taylor's versions.
Right. Well, she probably was subject to some kind of re-record restriction. That's why she didn't release all 6 of the albums right away when she made this decision. She's rolling them out slowly, probably in part because there is a shorter re-record restriction applicable to her. But new artists who don't have any leverage with labels and want to get signed will have a very hard time pushing back on these provisions in the contract. Of course, not agreeing to them in the first place is the best protection against being subject to them. But maybe down the road, you might see a lot more attempts to challenge too long periods as restraints of trade and that kind of thing.
To somebody in the industry like yourself who's responsible for negotiating these kinds of contracts, I look at this and I think, go Taylor, this is great. Own your stuff, re-release it, take your power and all of that. But as somebody who has to negotiate these contracts, how does it make things trickier?
It's a really good point. Taylor's all about the independence of the artist and pushing back against the music industry, not just for herself, but for all artists. And paradoxically, this move is hurting other artists.
That's very interesting, considering that she's trying to set this great example, and the flip side of it could be hurt them in the long run. Hey, Susan, thanks for coming on today.
Yeah. Thank you.
Stay.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked this, be sure to subscribe here, or you can check out more Your Morning videos right here.